from filmfestivalcircuit.com and the director of the Portland Comedy Film Festival. We have an event coming up on September the 18th on Sunday. It is Portland Comedy Film Festival Summer 2022. And we are joined by one of the directors with a film in the festival, Katelyn McCulloch. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I am looking forward to the event. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're just excited to showcase you and your film. And this isn't your first rodeo through Portland. You've done very well. So it's good to finally connect with you.
Yes, I'm so happy to be back with Meg Writes, a reference letter. We're excited for everyone to see it, and it's just beginning its festival run. So you're our American premiere here, all right? You're our big U.S. premiere.
Love it. Love it. Well, give us a synopsis. What are people going to see at that premiere on the 18th?
Yes. Meg Writes reference letter. Essentially, Meg is tasked with having to write her own reference letter and ultimately having to say like a bunch of nice stuff about herself, which then brings out her absolute worst qualities. And as it should, leads to an existential crisis, because that's what happens when you try to say nice things about yourself.
Well, Meg is pretty intense. How did this whole idea come about?
It started where I actually did have to write my own reference letter. I don't know if you've had to do that before, or people maybe ask you for a reference letter saying like, hey, Michael, can you like write me a reference letter? And then the person says, oh, actually you write it, send it back to me, and then I'll put my name on it. So I had to do this where I had to be like, Katelyn McCulloch is, and I was like, what do I want this person to say about me? I'm like, I want them to say Katelyn McCulloch is the most amazing person on the planet. Give her this job. And it led to a total downward spiral that then started making me laugh at myself and led to me suddenly trying to work on the reference letter sitting on the toilet, which Meg does. It led to me procrastinating, trying to get snacks, which Meg does. And then we blew it even further in proportion for the comedy aspect, but really trying to reveal those moments that are true, sincere human moments, that then the comedy of it is like how extreme we can get in our own little bubbles and our own minds.
Extreme. I like how you take it to the next level. I like how you coach your actors. They always they always just seem like they're coming at the peak of energy. I like the peak of energy feel. Not trying to give away any parts of your film. I want people to be surprised when they do see it. I have been in that situation because you'll get people that ask you for a reference letter and you don't really remember them. And you're like, okay, I'm flattered. And what sucks is you try to write a reference letter for somebody and you're trying to put some details and they're like, can you say this? Can you say this? Can you say that? It's like, you know what, dude, why don't you write it? You know?
Exactly. It totally makes sense. It truly can be like this weird situation of being like, am I being confident? Am I being cocky? Am I being a jerk? Like you just go down the rabbit hole of emotions.
Well, tell me, did you learn anything from this production?
Yes. Oh, sorry, a motorcycle just went by there. Somebody's peacocking out there. Like show off. Yes. So this movie, what's a crazy story about it is that it's actually made just with me and two other women. So Becky Swanick, she shot the movie, edited it, and did all the VFX, all the sound, all the color, and then Maddie Foley, who stars in the film, and also does a ton of improv in the movie. So all of us collectively wrote the thing and made it happen. I wrote the original script, and then we all got together and started improvising. So that was a learning experience of figuring out how we want to work in terms of having a mostly improv based approach. So what's the container we need to have? And then how do we execute that? And then even in the edit, Becky, thank goodness she shot it, because it goes all over the place in terms of Maddie's improvising and the different prompts I'm giving. So that was a huge learning curve for us. And then the other thing was that first we shot the movie and then we lost the whole movie. The hard drive it was on exploded and we didn't have it backed up yet. And it was gone. So we had to redo the whole film, and could have been a moment that we all cried. We all cried a little bit. It was a bit devastating. But then the second time we shot it, it was just a way better film because our process was clearer. We could actually go deeper and we had better kind of story points to anchor the whole meltdown of Meg.
That is a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, it was wild. And we had, a couple clips left over, and we tried to rescue the hard drive, but it was honestly one of those like freak accidents that I'm so grateful for, because the second movie we made was just 1,000 times better.
Wow. Well, I ran into somebody who they'd shot a horror film and they ran into the same thing. Sorry to be clearing my throat. I'm getting over a little cold here, but they shot a horror film, ran into the same thing where they shipped and it was a 20-minute film.
Uh,
So the lesson you have learned, and the lesson to everyone out there, your DIT, the person who's collecting your files on set, is a very, very important person.
yes.
So, appreciate you being transparent about that. I got to ask you, comedy, we get so many great comedies from Canada, that, it seems like everybody in Canada, and especially filmmakers, are just having a big barrel of laughs. But I kind of hear sometimes that, the genres that are focused on in Canada are a little bit different than in the film industry than just comedy. Can you shed any light on that? Any experience there?
Yeah, I'd say I can only speak to my personal experience of all of it, but I do find that people are like, Canadians are so funny, and we are so funny, and we're so nice, and we're so talented and so beautiful. All Canadians, general statement there. But I do find that specifically the work that I'm trying to create, which is female driven, I'm not trying to get out there and make some big political statement about like the the ways that I think women are funnier than men or anything. It's just I'm a woman and I think I'm funny and I like to have fun. And so the characters I create are that way as well. But I do find that the comedy in Canada, one, there's just not the same kind of financial support and funding behind comedies the way that there are, say, for dramas once you get into the feature film land. And yeah, I do think that we're still working. I don't know fully what it's like in the States, but I still think comedy, in my experience in Canada, is that I'm still feeling it's very male dominated genre. I think there's still mostly male directors. We're starting to get more women in their writing, more female showrunners, but still definitely more that male dominated. And that stuff is also funny. Don't get me wrong. It makes me laugh, but there is this gap we have now of these older men that just have way more experience than emerging female directors like me coming out. So I think we still have work to do in terms of like the comedy that I'm creating or other women are making that's female driven, just kind of giving that more of a platform instead of skewing towards that more kind of just only sketch, only more sketch driven comedy, which again I love, but I really like to try to see like how can I take maybe a sketch premise but make it more cinematic and more like a film and less like a sketch, because I think there's a cool place where those two can intersect, where you get comedy and you get cinema. And yeah, I think that's a sweet spot that we're still trying to figure out around here.
Okay. Well, yeah, sketch comedy is really, it really is its own thing. And
Yeah.
sometimes, people assume that our festivals are full of sketch comedy and stand-up comedy, which we do have those categories now, but it's like, we what we typically get are the more, narrative driven things like what you're creating. And it's, you always got a home at our festivals, especially Portland. It's all about making the laughs and being current and being on the edge, and making funny things that people are, you know, Portland Comedy Film Festival is just a laughter event. So you could shoot it on your phone. You can shoot it with an expensive camera. If it's funny and it makes people laugh, then the judges are going to jump all over it. So
That's
good
awesome.
stuff. Well, keep on doing what you're doing. You're a trendsetter in
Oh,
Canada.
thank
So,
you.
so I was going to ask you, what do you have planned for the future? You got this one under your belt, and you have a few films under your belt. But what do you have planned? What's next for you?
Next, so I have another short romantic comedy called I Don't that's starting its festival run at the Atlantic Film Festival in Nova Scotia. And then I'm really, I've been making shorts for a couple years and now I'm really focusing on long form. So we're actually turning Meg Writes a Reference Letter into a web series called Everybody's Meg. So different episodes will be Meg's different meltdowns from kind of mundane things. And we're really excited visually to explore how that meltdown can happen. So in Reference Letter, I don't want to spoil anything, but the way when she kind of blows out of proportion, it does so visually and cinematically. So we're trying to figure out all the fun, cool ways we can make that happen. I also have two feature films in development. One is a dramedy like Mother Like Daughter, and the other one is a 90s circus comedy called Life's a Circus. So I'm working it out, trying to get that writing in, really trying to move into that next level, I think, for me, which is like bigger budgets, bigger crews, bigger stories, because the shorts are amazing. And I really feel like I got to cut my teeth, and I'll always want to make shorts because they're so fun. And then we get to do things like this. But I would love to be submitting a feature film to you guys in the next couple of years. That's for sure.
All right. Exciting times. Very, very exciting times. This has been great. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
I mean, thank you for having us and all the judges who watch all these friggin' movies. I can't even imagine their eyeballs must just be falling out of their head. But we're just so excited to, yeah, do our US premiere with you guys. And thanks for having us and putting together these festivals, because comedy needs a home and a place where an audience is like, we're here to laugh. We're coming for like, what's the newest, latest thing in comedy? So we're just honored to be included.
Well, thank you. The judges appreciate your work. You make us look good. We're glad to be premiering it. Didn't know it was going to be a part of a series, so you just broke that news for us too.
Thank you.
And we have fun. For people who check out Portland Comedy Film Festival, they walk in, they always walk out and go, you know what, Michael, I've never seen anything like that. Especially people who aren't in the film industry at all, who are just used to going and watching one film and leaving. When you come and you see, like 30 films up on the screen and 40 films, people don't want to leave. They're like, if I go and come back and eat and get a drink and come back, are you still going to be, playing movies? And I think people really enjoy that. And yours is a part of that. And so thank you for sending us good content. And talk about Mulligan a little bit. I know you had like a whole festival run. You want to add anything on that?
Yeah, we did. Well, we won Best International Comedy at Portland.
Mhm.
And then we were finalists at Austin Comedy with you guys as well. And then we went on to win a bunch of different festivals. And I also won Best First Time Director for the project. We won at the Female Eye Film Festival. We played across Canada, the States. It was just amazing experience. And that was my first film. And yeah, it really did create a foundation for me, confidence wise, but also just people going like, hey, you might actually be good at this. And I was like, yes, I think I might be too. Yeah, she had a great festival run and it was really exciting. And now it's streaming on Stratford Theater Festival. They have an online platform now that streams films. So they licensed us and picked us up there. So she lives online somewhere now.
All right. Good stuff. Well, hey, thanks a lot for your time again today. And we just really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good one.